Yo, 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 yo. Welcome back to another episode of TV EPL preview show. It is week 6 in the EPL, so we are back to discuss all the latest team news, all the injury news, everything that's going on this week before we lead into the 10 fixtures of the weekend. We have 7 fixtures on Saturday, 2 more Sunday, and then we have a return of some Monday night football in England on Monday as well. So we'll be back for the review show Monday. We will reveal all the prediction results, reveal the standings, see who came last, and definitely, hopefully, I am talking about a Gunners victory on Sunday against Newcastle in the Monday review show. But tonight, it's all about the preview, so you know the format, people. We're going to let people check in, exchange some pleasantries, banter some people, and then we're going to get into the team news for this week going into the weekend. All the press conferences would have taken place today. So we're going to see what we could have learned from those. See, of course, you know, all of us here, or most of us here that watch the show and are in tune with the EPL, probably play FPL as well. So, you know, we want to hear what the coaches have to say about the players to see who we're going to do. And yeah, so we're going to do team news, injuries, score predictions, go through the games, talk about the form of the teams going into the matches they might have played recently, ones in Europe, how it did there, EFL Cup teams and all that. Talk about all these things, try to see, you know, who going to start, and that way we can make better predictions. At least I'm going to try to help you guys because I don't need much help, you know. My thing kind of sort out. A joke. I need to win every week. I need to win more frequently if I'm going to say that. But yeah, week 6, people. 5 weeks in, of course, you know, Liverpool tops the table, only team in the EPL with 5 wins. Their next closest team to them has 10 points. I think what 3 teams on 10 points, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it looks a lot like how it looked last year for the majority of the season right now. But let's see if this week is the week where teams can get a little closer to Liverpool or not. But yeah, let's just big up the people I'm in the building from early out. Yo, 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 yo. Big up to Duke, you know, every time, you know. I hope you do better this week, Duke, because trust me, you've been struggling, my G. All right, hold on, the people. Start the show. I'm on a pen. All right, people, we're there. Big up TD in a building. Big up yourself, you know. Yeah, man. Big up, big up, big up, big up, big up. Yo, 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 yo. Big up yourself, you know, float. Oh, I never write float name on this yet. Right, do name long time, you know, car. But space fee donkey of the season, you know. Put on. In case him want to turn up, you know. Bless up, bless up, bless up, bless up. Hope all is well. Yeah, people, if you haven't already, you know, we did a show on the channel yesterday. Pops turn up, blaze some more fire, talk about the World Cup squad and some other things. Not allowing you to like, boy, that's terrible. That is terrible. Please do try find a way, my boss. Matter of fact, at least now I'm gonna have to do that. Yeah, something must be wrong with the like button for true, you know, cause 0 likes. No, alright, I'm going 5 likes. Alright, cool. Yeah, me no know float. Maybe refresh the page, forward out and forward block. Bless up Jagarns in the building. Yeah, man, that's what I say. Log out and log back in and see what I go on. Bless up Jagarns. Couple members in the building from early. Respect due to the membership, helping the channel to stay afloat. Yeah, man, respect to you lot. Real legends, you know. When the place reach all thousands of members now, and can say, yo, I was one of the first, you know, foundation membership. For do something for the foundation, you know. All right, so without further ado, people, let's get right into the team news as we lead into the weekend. And then after that, we'll get right into the games, team form, predicted 11s, and things of that nature. All right? Yes, people. It was your phone? All right, cool. Respect feel like float. Yeah, man, we'll get started now. We're gonna pull up the PL page. And let's see, we have the team news scrolling on the top here. So we're just gonna click. So Guardiola gives a positive update on Haaland. If you play FPL, you would have seen he had the yellow flag, which is kind of like questionable, you know. So let me tell you guys what's going on with that. So all he got out of Pep is he's ready, right? Him say Kovacic, maybe. He's not fully ready, but step by step. Players still out for City. Cherki, Eight Nouri, and Marmoush. They look like all of the Muslim them out. Remain unavailable for Saturday's clash. But good news for all you fantasy heads in terms of Haaland. Haaland is ready. And you don't know against Burnley. If you have Haaland in your team, you might want to think about triple captaining, you know? Might be a good week. Here's another big blow for a lot of fantasy people as well, including myself. So looks like they're gonna stop playing this game with Cole Palmer now and put him down for a couple of weeks, let him try to fully recover. As a groin issue. And you know, with those grinds, it's a weird one, man. Like, because from day to day, it might feel okay. You go out and run on it, and it feel horrible after 10 minutes, which is, I think, what happened in the last game they played when they had to make another sub after they did a double sub after the red card. So they said that after the international break is when they're thinking about him coming back. They just want him to go ahead and rest up and get fully fit. Tosin and Fofana also will be out. Tosin is injured. He'll probably be out until after the international break, has a problem with his calf. And Fofana suffered a concussion against Lincoln, and he has to be out due to that protocol, right? He might be getting to get back Badia Shield and Lavia back into the team. But that would be a little bit close for them maybe as well. So Tosin and Fofana out. So a few people out of the back line for them. I think that leaves what? Chalobah and the youngster Achampong, I think. Unless I'm missing someone else. But Chelsea's defense going to be looking a little bit light this week. Nico O'Reilly get an extension on his contract. Congrats to the young man, Nico O'Reilly. And then Arteta was talking as well. Latest on the players. So basically, Martin will be training with us the next 2 days. Hopefully, he'll be available for the game. So basically, if you know Arteta's language, that is code for Odegaard will start against Newcastle. Yeah, he said nothing to report on Saka. You know, people were worried he took a big challenge in that Carabao Cup game and then came off in the second half. But apparently, that 60 minutes was always the plan, and Max was going to get the last 30 minutes of the game. So people shouldn't be worried about that. And they said that they haven't done a scan on Noni as yet, is what was said in the press conference. So you know, I know a lot of dates been floating around with Madueke, you know, 4 to 8 weeks or something like that. 2 months I was hearing, but they haven't done a scan as yet, according to Arteta. So I don't know where those time reports came from. We'll have to wait and see how the scan turn out. So Mazraoui and Ahmad out for Manchester United. To the delight of many Man U fans, probably not, Diogo Dalot is returning to the team. So Dalot has been getting a lot of beating from United fans over the past couple seasons, I think. But I actually think he's not that bad. But hey, what do I know? I'm just an Arsenal fan, right? Casemiro obviously will be out with the suspension. Obviously, Lisandro Martinez still out. You know, condolences to Ahmad. I believe his absence is due to a family member passing away. So never like to hear them thing there. So Ahmad, it will get better, my youth. Yeah, man, stay strong. All right, so Sar and Pino ready to return to face Liverpool. So that's good news for Liverpool haters, because I think Sar is a problem. He usually cause problems against them. in this particular fixture. And I think Jeremy Pino was a good pickup for them. Different type of style to Eze, obviously, but they're not that dissimilar. I think Pino is a little bit more of a true winger, but he's Spanish, so he has the technical ability to play a little bit inside. But yeah, Sar coming back is big news, and I think Pino will help as well. I think Pino eventually will become the starter. So it will be Mateta, Sar, and Pino, and that's not a bad three right there as the attackers. You factor in Munoz and Mitchell wing back attacking. It's a decent little setup that they have attacking wise, and them solid defensively. So I think good coach as well. So Glasner, Crystal Palace, obviously I think their issue is probably gonna be they have to deal with the Conference League now, and I don't think that they have the deepest squad in the world. So staying fit for them, I think, is going to be the crucial part for this season. But as I said, good news for them. Sarr is coming back. Player that I actually happen to like quite a bit. Good player, solid player. I liked him ever since he was way back when he was playing at Watford. Yeah, man. Good baller, man. And they will have their European debut in the group phase or league phase of the Conference League in the midweek on Thursday. So big week for Crystal Palace. They host the champions and then they travel for an away day in Europe on Thursday. So big one for them. Case have been added to the Champions League squad. So that's big. Yeah, so since Leone went down with the ACL, in Champions League, you are allowed to add one more player if you have a long-term injury. And they went from a defender to adding another attacker. And I think that makes sense because Chiesa has looked very, very lively in his last couple of appearances for Liverpool. So, I mean, there's a good player in there. I mean, he was the leading attacking player when Italy won the Euro. Some of those, I think, a couple of Euros back now. So yeah, there's a player in there for sure. Just had some issues with injuries ever since that Euro and hasn't really been able to put together any long stretch of time playing that way. But he has the ability. All right, so Sarr returned to the fold. So he'll be available for the weekend. Okay, so Kolomuani is out and Dominic Solanke is out. So anybody that's looking for a forward option in FPL, I would say Richarlison would be a good one for the short term because I do think when those players return, we're going to see a lot more rotation. It's going to be hard to figure out which player going to get the bulk of the time for this team. But yeah, they get a player back. Matasar still going to be without Kolomuani and Solanke though. Tottenham. All right, Postecoglou. So we have Murillo and David Luiz. Want to figure out what kind of news they had for us there. Show the transcript. Star. Something I forgot to find it. This will take me to a video. So I would really like to see it in print. That would be more helpful. All right, so it looks like Emi Martinez is doubtful to face Fulham. So that's a big one there. Don't think he's fully all in with the Aston Villa team right now. I think you can tell based on his performances, just don't see him as locked in as the normal Emi Martinez, But it looks like he's gonna face a fitness test to see if he's fit enough. Tielemans, Onana, and Ross Barkley all not available. All the other players that have niggling injuries, they have to see tomorrow before they can make a call about their game on Sunday. So Emi Martinez, fitness one to watch there for Aston Villa. Wan Bissaka still out for West Ham. Slot provides injury update on Leone. We know his ACL is out. And Reece Nelson still yet to kick a ball in anger this season for Brentford. They are going to assess him before this game coming up. Nelson missed a week of training due to illness. He has reintegrated into the team and will be assessed to see whether he could feature against the Red Devils on Saturday. So looks like he's had an illness setback that has kind of stopped his progress from making his first team ball for Brentford, but he is in line if everything goes well next couple of days to maybe get something going. Now, how Eddie Howe was talking ahead of their clash with the Gunners at St. James Park, probably the most probably the most intriguing matchup of the weekend, if we're being honest. That other big guns have what you would call winnable games to play. Maybe with the exception of Crystal Palace and Liverpool, I do think the Community Shield battle they had, maybe would have left a bad taste in Liverpool's mouth. So they do have the added thing of this being their second time meeting already this season. But last time they played, there was no Alexander Isak, and after Ekitike's red card in the Carabao Cup, more than likely they'll have to deal with Alexander Isak from the start and for a large bulk of the game coming up on Saturday. So it's going to be interesting. So Anthony Gordon will be back. That is huge for them. I do think that Newcastle, the best version of Newcastle includes Anthony Gordon on the pitch. And I think for Anthony Gordon, it's going to be a welcome sight to see the big striker there, so he doesn't have to play striker. I think him off the left is really where he's most effective. It's just too bad for him that Jurriën Timber is the player over there at the moment. Not the easiest to deal with. So Murphy looks to be fit and available. Ramsey brought the injury bug from Villa straight over to Newcastle. Saw one little game of him coming off the bench. Haven't seen him since. He's still recovering from an injury he picked up last time he played. And Will Osula, he was asked about, he did play well in the cup match that they won, but I think he will have to wait for his turn off the bench because I don't think that big Nick from Germany is going to get on the bench right now. All right, so Brighton get two players back, the Kuiper, the left back, and Vifa in midfield. So all you, the Kuiper people, good cheap option for left back in FPL. He's back. Diarra will be out until December. That's Lebrie, Southampton manager. And then let's see Leeds, what they have to say about the injuries in their team. Leeds starting out the season pretty decent as the other. All three promoted sides, I must say, have started better, definitely better than last year. Jaden Bogle looks like he's back in training, so he's available for selection. Daniel James progressing with his rehab. So Carl Darlow still gonna keep goal because Lucas Perry, who they got, the Brazilian they got, is still out. Willie Nunto is still out. He won't be back yet. Hope to be back in training next week, he said. And Lucas Perry looks like needs a bit more time. Will not probably feature until after the international break. So seems to be a theme with some of the injuries right now. Just teams just deciding after the break would be a better time. And then Scott Parker, Burnley, they will be traveling to Manchester to take on City at the Etihad. And yeah, he was talking ahead of that, and he basically trying to see what he said about the injured players. Okay. All right. Tough run of games. Prince Force. Okay, so really it doesn't look like any injury updates for the Burnley team. Just asking him about traveling to the Etihad for this game and all those things. He said Man City is a big team. So I don't know when the last time he watched City. Jason, I made a small stake bet, 93K. Imagine it comes true. It's all morning games, mostly Japan and Romanian teams. I've had a good look. It's not about the info, but I have a feeling most is good. All right, Respa, good luck, my bro. I hope you win. Yeah, man. You can send a donation, man. We'll accept it. 4 a.m. match is till 10 a.m. Great Britain time. All right, good luck, good luck, good luck. Almost 116K 3 years ago, man. Jeez. Well, Respa, a lot of time them big bet then it are forward down to like one or a few games, man. So I just hope you get through, bro. Good luck to you. I hope you win. All right, people, let's get down into the part of the show that people have loved now. This is the part where we go through the teams and the matches and we'll see what we think and who we think will win the matches. So if you guys want to take part in the predictions, you know what to do. Drop your scores in the comment section, in the live chat as we go through with the scores. All right. So first fixture of the weekend that will be played. Midday kickoff in the UK. It's going to be Brentford in London hosting Manchester United. So Brentford will be hosting Man U. And let's take a look at the stats so far this season for both teams. So Brentford just outside of the relegation zone in 17th. Manchester United, one more victory than them. Same amount of draws. And that's a 6th place gap in position right there with that 3-point difference. So of course United on 7, Brentford on 4, and that's the difference between 11th and 17th right now in this young Premier League season. Both teams have scored 6 goals, and both teams are averaging conceding 2 goals per match. So that therein lies the problem right there. They average less goals than they concede. But you look at the difference with the XG so far this season, one of the higher in the league right now is Manchester United. So you see they're not converting their chances well enough. They should be on more than 6 goals with that XG. And Brentford pretty much scoring goals at a rate close to what is expected, which is always good. One clean sheet kept by Brentford, none by Manchester United. So all you FPL players, Man U, for whatever reason, do not keep clean sheets this season yet. Don't know if that's something that they can start to do. But yeah, they have conceded twice, a couple of times. Well, twice, once, 3 times, and another time they conceded 3 away to City. So to tighten up that defense and convert more of the chances because they are high up in the league in chances created, which is a stat that people maybe would be surprised that they're so high up in, but they definitely are. Brentford has had a decent run of matches, 1 win in the last 5, 1 draw, 3 defeats. Now, when the fixture is played at Brentford at the end of the season last year, that ended 4-3 in favor of Brentford, one of the most entertaining games last season, 7 goals scored between them. You see, it's a small history of games between these two teams in the Premier League. Only 8 played, 5 wins to United and 2 wins to Brentford with a draw. United, interestingly, in their 5 wins, only 1 of them have come away from home. So typically, Brentford protect their home pretty well against this team. Now, this week, Brentford did have some fixtures. Brentford did have a fixture, I should say. I think. Let me see. Did they? Or did they get knocked out? Yeah, okay, so they did. They played no, that was last week. Okay, yeah. So they got knocked out. No, so how they never play this week? Okay, so their EFL week was the week before. Okay, never mind. So They will play. Okay, so Harbour Pirates is a 3-1 defeat to Fulham last week. Excuse me for that, people. Um, and last week it was a little tweak in the system. They went to the back five. Pinnock got the start, which we were happy about as a Jamaican fan, leading into the window. It wasn't the best day for Pinnock. He did have an own goal. It was a bit unlucky on the own goal, but even other than that, he struggled a bit to come to grips with some of the attacking movements of Fulham. And for large stretches, Brentford's defense was all over the shop. So, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of system Andrews goes with this week, because I thought the back four is probably better for them. It looked as if they struggled with the change of the system last week. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what he goes for in terms of formation tomorrow. 4-2-3-1 was pretty much what he started the season playing. So it was interesting to see them come out last week with a totally different system. Actually, to be fair to them, it was the second week in a row they were playing that system. They did it against Chelsea as well. But the games before that, he's been playing a 4-2-3-1. So, let's see what he goes with tomorrow. When they go with the back five, they play it with the wing backs that pretty much get licensed to bomb forward. And it's a 5-3-2 out of possession and like a 3-5-2 in possession. But he went with Sade and Thiago up front against Fulham, and against Chelsea, he went with the same attacking lineup. So I think the Sade with a little more freedom in a two-striker role might benefit him. But I think that the striker actually plays better if they go back to the 4-2-3-1. So, for that reason, I would say play the 4-2-3-1. That way you keep Thiago as the striker. I think that's where he wants to be. And then you play Sade off the left of the 4-2-3-1. So he still can join in, but his starting position can be a little bit wider too. That's what I would do if I was Brentford. Now, Manchester United, we know them going forward with people. They're coming with the 3-4-2-1 that he loves to play. So this is what we saw last week against Chelsea. For Man U with the 3-4-2-1. So Diallo, we know, won't be there, but Cunha is back. So Cunha probably slots in where Diallo was. The rest of the front three probably looks the same. We know Mazraoui is out, so Diallo is back in, so he probably comes in for him. And Casemiro is out. So more than likely, based on what the coach has done in the past, Ugarte would come in and play centrally with Bruno. Dorgu, I think, had a good game last week, so probably will keep his slot right there on the left. And like I said, Dallo comes in here, and then the back three is going to be an interesting one. Does he keep Maguire in there? Does he bring back Lenny Yoro from the start? That's probably the main thing to look at. But yeah, I could see this team being very similar to what starts. Ugarte to replace Casemiro, Dallo to replace Mazraoui, and Cunha to replace Diallo. Now, we know Mount is back as well, so we have seen in the past where he doesn't start Sesko, Mbumo, and Cunha. So maybe one of them sit, and then Mount is there as a, less of an attacking threat in that position, but does give the proper coverage to Bruno and Huarte, who I think if it's the two of them in central midfield, somebody needs to give them an extra hand, and we know Mount can do that job. So just depends on how balanced Amorim wants to have it. Look, I think Brentford right now is kind of like finding their way still under their new manager. I think United, as much as I ridicule them, when you look at the data, they have proven to be creating enough chances to score goals. And I think Brentford at the moment can be found guilty around the back of just not having everything together right now. And I think a part of that is just new system, and they haven't quite come to grips with exactly the best way to do things. So because of that, I think that United is actually going to get the result in this game. So I'm going to say United win this one 2-1. So I'm going to say 2-1 United. So we get to see the euphoria. 2 games in a row that United potentially going to win. As you can see here, United off the back of that 2-1 victory against Chelsea, and Brentford coming from a 3-1 defeat away at Craven Cottage. So Brentford, their only win this season did come at home. They're unbeaten at home so far with a win and a draw. So that kind of gives me pause, but I just have this feeling like United is just a little bit further along in the process right now. And Andrews, while he's going through these little growing pains, I think United just finds the winner. So 1-1 is kind of my initial thought process, or even 2-2, but I'm gonna say United gets over the line for a 2-1. That's what I'm gonna say. Up. Yeah, man, mind over matter. Yeah, man, that's the spirit, man. Bless up, low. What go on, my brother? Gunners boss in the building said, Jason, hail up. I'm disappointed in you and your pops having an issue with athletes going where their talent pay them more instantly. Yes, absolutely. Not necessarily. When you put it that way, I wouldn't agree with what you said either. But remember, the context of what we were talking about was like representing a country. And we were simply saying it can't just be about who is the highest bidder to go and represent a country. You must have some tie to the country itself, through heritage, through something, or if you live there or something. It can't just be okay. Italy, Spain, and France all sent money for me to play for them. So I'll make my choice and just pick which one. No. I have no problem with them earning money or getting the most they can get when they're performing as a professional on a circuit or whatever the case is. But in terms of representing a nation, I don't think it can just be the highest bidder can buy any person. I think that's a stupid way. It don't make sense. Respect, chorus. Respect. I know I hear thing this, but respect for the life, my brother. Nitro say 1-1. Why Nitro, you take my original pick, man. I think about it a little more and you don't know. Bless up in a chili. Bless up chili. Every time, my brother. Jagans. Yeah, I say. There's so much people, man, I get the lead off of. Oh no, Jagans say, yo, 2-1 sound good. Big up, I had one in the building. Hope you're well, my dear. We say Arsenal 2-0 this week. All right, Gunners boss. I like that score. My teeth it later. Float. Say 2-1 Brentford. So say flip that score the beans. This week's predictions are shaky, difficult to pick. Yeah, there's some like 50-50 games this week, for be honest, A lot of them teams, I said, John, maybe it could have got this way or that way. Low say 1-1. All right, Low, I jump in a pool this week. Big up, Low. We need to have this conversation, Jason. My apologies for interrupting you, but with a short shelf life in athletics, I don't see patriotism when it doesn't pay sports and the military service. Yeah, but Gunners boss, you see, the thing is, that is a conversation where we need to be beating the IAAF. They need to make the sport more lucrative for the athletes, right? Jamaica, the country, should not be tasked, or any country for that matter, should not be tasked for making sure that these persons can make a living off of the sport they play. Every other industry, it's not the national teams doing this for the players. It's their jobs doing it. So the true problem is, why is it that only the top whatever athletes can earn a decent living because they have Diamond League to go run on these things? How many other athletes can actually run these Diamond League races? There's really only 2 races at over a distance, and sometimes one. They'll have 100. Well, one that really pays well. You need to make me and your pops have these debates as few OLEDs cutting it up. Yeah. Well, one of them there, when Pop's on, I've got to open up the call in. Make people come drop some talk about it. But yeah, man, it's a convo we can have, man, because to me, we level the blame at the JFF. I'm not JFF, but the J3A and the J, what the next one name, J3A and the JOC or the JOA, yeah, Olympic Association and the Amateur Athletic Association, right? But to me, it's an IAAF problem, bro. It's an IAAF problem. You know, why is it that Michael Johnson can start a thing called Grand Slam track and so many of the athletes want to join it, not knowing that it even backed with the money. You see them run out of money and can't pay them. But the athletes were so willing to do it because they're like, yo, I can run these amount of races and make this amount of money in that weekend. I'm in. You know what I'm saying? If IAAF had things set up properly, Grand Slam track couldn't exist. They would already have a something framework for the athletes them earn. Mm-hmm. All right, yeah. So, like a tangent, but back to regular programming, people. So, that's the first game of the week. Only person I don't see drop a score that I saw a comment so far was Duke, and I had one. Duke more than likely probably send me a list still when him forward if him don't forward back on the show tonight. All right, so let's go right back to the fixtures again. And there's always, as usual, I think 1, 2, 3, 4 games at 10 o'clock. So Chelsea and Brighton is the first one we're going to discuss. Remember, the next 4 games we talk about are going to be played at the same time, right? So let's take a look at the statistics between the teams. So Chelsea's in 6th position, 2 wins, 2 draws, and a loss. Brighton 1 win, 2 draws, and 2 losses for them. Chelsea decent, 2 goals per match, 10 goals. Brighton with 6 goals in their 5 matches so far. Brighton conceding more goals than Chelsea as well. XG very even, 8.38 and 8.15. So you can expect both teams to be able to create a few chances in this game. Difference so far this season, Chelsea has been able to keep 2 clean sheets. Brighton and Hove Albion yet to keep any. You see the form. Chelsea started out with a lackluster nil all, I thought. A game that Crystal Palace was there for the taking, but Chelsea just didn't turn up. But then they had statement win 5-1 away at the London Stadium, then a 2-0 home win with Fulham. They drew away at Brentford 2-2, and they also lost to Man U at Old Trafford last week 2-1. Crazy Sanchez getting the red early, then Casemiro getting a red. So 10 versus 10 in the second half. Chelsea could not do enough to get a result. Brighton drew the first game, lost to Everton away, beat Man City at home, probably their best achievement so far this season. Very good game for them. Came back in that game as well. Lost 2-1 away at Bournemouth and then drew last week at home with Tottenham. So they have another game week with a home match. They're traveling away this week to the Bridge. So it'll be a much different opposition for them. And as you can see on their 2 travels so far, they have lost both of their games. All right. So 16 times these teams have played in the Prem. 9 wins for Chelsea, 3 wins for Brighton with 4 drawn games. Brighton, last time they faced each other, got the better of them 3-0, but the last time they played at the Bridge back in September last year, it was a 4-2 result in favor of Chelsea. So bit of a mixed bag, 2 wins for Brighton in the last 5 and 3 wins for Chelsea in the last 5 that these two played. But what could give them hope, they have beaten Chelsea at Stamford Bridge before. That was April 2023. So a much changed Chelsea team from then. So I wouldn't put too much stock in that at all. All right. So let's see how the teams played last week, just as a refresher. This was the lineup for Brighton. One thing I've noticed with this Brighton team so far, typically, Ursula at halftime likes to make a sub, even sometimes 2 subs at halftime. So he likes to kind of change around things at halftime. That's one thing I noticed with this coach. Backline, I think, pretty much stays the same for now. I mean, Kadayoglu had a long-term injury before. He's been playing a lot of minutes. The Kuiper is back. Do you put him right back into the team? It's possible because he was playing really well before he got injured, but I think he has enough cover there to just go ahead and start Kadayoglu again. Ayaria started the season well. Minte as well. I think Mitoma is the one player that is maybe gone a bit quiet for them. Don't see his influence being quite the same lately. Ruta has been decent as a striker. I didn't really see him playing there going into the season, but looks to have nailed down the spot. So yeah, Brighton, I could expect one and few changes. I know Diego Gomez had 4 goals in the Carabao Cup. Do you really go into this game and say Diego Gomez you're not going to play? He could easily start for Gruda right there in that position behind Ruta. So let's see if Diego Gomez has earned a starting spot. If me as the coach and a player on my team score 4 goals on Wednesday, guess what? That player playing on Saturday. So let's see if the coach agrees with my line of reasoning. Chelsea last week, when they faced Man U, this was the lineup that they used. Of course, we know Cole Palmer cannot play, so he'll be out of there. Typically, what sometimes happens is Enzo gets a freer role in the midfield. He could go with Andre Santos and Caicedo as his pivot. I know Lavia should be back in the squad. Doubt he would put him in from the start. He might even think about putting Reece James in midfield with Caicedo. That again would free up Enzo. And then put Malagusto at right back. We know Fofana is out. So we know Tosin is out as well. So it's going to be interesting. They have Gerald Huito. He can play left centre back as well as left back. So does he trust him to start? Do you go back with Achampang? That's what we'll have to see when the game starts out. Sanchez did serve his ban from the EFL Cup game. So he'll be back for the weekend for all you fantasy fans that have Sanchez in your team. But if you have Sanchez in your team, you better hope him get a lot of saves because I don't think he'll get a clean sheet bonus this week. Too much going on that back line, too many players that would start out of the game. I think that hurts Chelsea a bit. But I'm going to say Chelsea get the better of them still. And I'm going to say Chelsea win this one 2-1. So another 2-1 result, but this time I'm going with the home team to get it. Yeah, bite the bullet. All right. So I had one say she's going all the way. All right. So Brentford United, you said Brentford 1-0. Chelsea Brighton. Chelsea 1, Brighton 2. City versus Burnley. City versus Burnley. 3-0 to City. So I'm skip out all of them game there. Palace versus Liverpool 1-3. Leeds versus Bournemouth 1-2. Forest versus Sunderland 1-0 to Forest. Tottenham Wolves 4-0. Villa versus Fulham 1-all. Newcastle Arsenal 1. Newcastle 3 to Arsenal. And Everton West Ham. You went 2-1 Everton. All right. I had one is locked in. 700 to 800 million. Woo! Rough. Chile said Brighton 3-2. Low said 3-0 to Chelsea. Spoken like a true Chelsea fan. Nitro said 1-all again. And Jagarns agrees and says 1-all as well. All right, cool. No, say must have send in few months. So I'm gonna put that this as well. All right, so I've got everybody in that's here. Float, missing yours if you're still there, about. All I got is the Brentford game. And Duke been gone. All right. Next fixture that we are going to work with is a big one, people. A big one for me as an Arsenal fan and for all the Reds as well. So Crystal Palace facing Liverpool. And before I get into the stats of this season, I'm just curious. So they have played this fixture 32 times. Domination from Liverpool, 20 wins for them. Only 6 wins for Palace in those 32 and 6 drawn games. So Liverpool, historically in the Premier League, dominant over Crystal Palace. But one thing that's for sure is that has really gotten different in the last few times they have played. So if you look at the last 5 matches they faced each other, we have 2 wins for Liverpool, 1 win for Palace, and 2 draws. So it doesn't look similar to what the all-time looks like. They've gotten a lot closer in terms of the games. So Palace 5th in the league, Liverpool 1st, 2 wins, 3 draws, 0 losses, 5 wins, no draws, no losses for Liverpool. So unbeaten Crystal Palace. Only reason they're not top in the league like Liverpool, they have dropped 6 points now because of those 3 drawn games. Goals scored, Liverpool almost doubling them with 11, 6 to Crystal Palace. Goals conceded per match, you see on average 0 goals conceded by Crystal Palace. The XG, remarkably, Crystal Palace on 8.49, Liverpool clinical as ever, 6.98 XG to go with 11 actual goals. That is mad conversion right there. 3 clean sheets for Crystal Palace and 2 to Liverpool. So Crystal Palace, as you can see, 3 drawn games, Chelsea, Forest, and Sunderland. So at home, they have yet to register a win. What a day it would be for a first win if they could beat Liverpool. 3-0 victory away at Villa Park and a 2-1 away win at London Stadium last week against West Ham. Then Liverpool, you see the green, 5 wins on the trot, 4-2, 3-2 away, big win, 1-0 win with Arsenal, Soboslai won the strike, 1-0 at Burnley. So only 1 goal scored over there, but it was a crucial one. And then last week, a 2-1 victory over Everton in the Merseyside derby. So this was the team that ran out for Glasner last week against West Ham. His tried and trusted 3-4-2-1 as well. Pino, we knew, was out of the midweek match they had, but he's back. Kamara started. I think he was just holding down that spot for when Ismail Assar forward, and I think he's back, and I think he starts as well. Mateta should be up front. I think the wing backs will stay the same. Kamara could drop back for Hughes, but they might keep a little more steel in there facing Liverpool. So I could see Hughes and Wharton continuing there. And then the back 3 picks itself right now. Those are the 3 class defenders they have, plus Jordan Henderson, still in good form, continuing on from last year. So I don't see much change to this lineup. Just Sar coming in for Kamara more than likely. And Ketia is back from injury now. So that's another option off the bench. And then when you look at Liverpool, it's that time now where he's gonna have to figure out who's gonna play what game. I think all their midfield options are available, and this was the first time that Verts missed out on a starting team since he's gotten here. Soboslai playing the more advanced role, Gravenberch and McAllister playing a little bit closer to the back line, even though Gravenberch at times was the furthest forward. I've said it last week and I'll say it again. These 3 players really do a lot of interchanging throughout the game. So that's something to look out for. Sometimes Gravenberch pops up on that forward line with the rest of them. Other times it's McAllister, other times it's Soboslai. So they have a lot of freedom to kind of react to what their teammates are doing and be the one to fill that space if it's empty. So a lot of fluidity in that midfield. Salah, Gakpo, Ekitike. We know Ekitike is suspended. So straight swap, I would think Isak comes on. Is it that Gakpo has to get dropped to fit Verts into this team? Probably, because I don't see him dropping these 3 out of that midfield. It just clicked a lot. Especially away to Palace. I feel like this wouldn't be the game to play Verts. I would stick with these 3. And if you're going to play Verts, you'd have to just take Gakpo's game off the left. Mo Salah's going to be out there. Frimpong is back fit, so I'm playing again. So choices to make at right back. I think Robertson played in the the cup match the other day. I think that was pretty much leaving that rest for Kirkis to play his Premier League match on the weekend. So I think he'll start again. So yeah, I think the big ones here are gonna be, what's the midfield three, and does Gakpo keep his place now that the more options are there to choose from? I think Arne Slot loves Gakpo, so he's gonna always be out there once he's fit. Some people were not arguing, but some people disagreed with me on that, and I say, hey, we'll just have to wait and see. But I think Gakpo will stay right where he was. So we took a look at the teams how they started out last week. We took a look at the overall stats of the season for both teams. Now it is time to pick the score. So Crystal Palace hosting Liverpool, people. A part of me wants to be greedy and say Glasner comes up with some kind of tactic to hurt this Liverpool team. I think they're definitely a transition team. And we know that Bournemouth was able to hurt them. I would venture to say that Crystal Palace is similar in how quick they can transition from time to time, especially if they can get the two fullbacks involved or wingbacks. So I'm not going to be greedy, people, and go for the win because I do want them to win. But I do have a feeling like this game is going to draw. So I'm going to say it's a Desmond 2-2. Desmond 2-2 is what I'm going with, people. Crystal Palace and Liverpool. Is this a bit of wishful thinking? Maybe. But a part of it is just based on my analysis and stuff. I do feel like Palace is going to cause them problems. I know that Liverpool will cause them problems. I think everybody does. But I just feel like it's going to be one of those games that Liverpool probably could have lost and they end up salvaging a point. But let's see if I'm right. Big up yourself, Game Birds. I need my boy Game Birds in it. Chile said 2-1 to Liverpool. Low said 1-0 Liverpool. See if anybody will agree with me. Brentford, Man U. Game Bird said 1-1. Chelsea, Brighton. Game Bird said 2-1 Chelsea. And 1-1 with Palace and Liverpool. So next drawing of the mix. Nitro said 1-0 to Pool. So Nitro finally don't pick a 1-1 game. Liverpool win 3-1. Me wish them lose still. Boy, I tell you, Gunners. So Gunners, drop the whole of them, no man. All if you guess, man. You give me a 2-0 for Arsenal. So I'm going to write down them two there. And the rest of the game, them will not send nothing. Just I say I miss them. And you're going to be donkey of the week. So everybody, just give thanks. Gunners basket with few score. So we can just use them there. I will just give him X's for all the other game them when don't give me. So it's like he must win the donkey for the week. Yeah, man. Why the page are full of people. I have to write the next column, Because some people did send me from my social media already. So I have a couple slots well already write down. But it's alright. I have more space. So I can write it twice. So every week I have to write it twice, but I don't know what I was thinking. I never just write it from before. Channel I grow people. Not only the channel, but like the actual community will actually look out for the prediction them on the channel that grow, because every week more and more people just send them to me in the day because they must say, boy, Friday night kind of rough for them and things. So can't really depend on the show, but them want to make sure them drop them picks. Yeah, man. So every week now I start about a good 10 people down already, Yeah, man. You get the here, man. Believe me. Jagan say 1-1. Yeah, man. I think how much I go draw, man. I just feel that I go draw. Oliver Glasner go cook up something good for them. A good game plan. All right. So Leeds and Bournemouth, people. So this is another 10 o'clock fixture. This one will be at Ellen Road. And this is the stats for the season so far. So Bournemouth in the top 4 right now with 3 wins, 1 draw, and 1 loss. So they are tied on points with a couple of others on 10. Leeds 2 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses. So not bad, a respectable 7 points for them. I think they're on points with like Man United are now in 11th, so they're 12th. Only 4 goals scored though, so that's been an issue for them so far. But they have been decently stingy, conceding just 1 per match so far. Bournemouth, 6 goals they have scored in the 5 games. You see the XG for Bournemouth a bit higher, 6.49. They're both performing at their XG leads. Then they have 2 clean sheets, and Bournemouth on the other hand have 3. So you look at the form. Win in the first game, big win for them. Then a 5-0, decent point at home to Newcastle. Lost away 1-0 to Fulham in a tough, hard-fought game. And then last week away at Wolves, I think they went down in that game and had 3 unanswered goals in like short succession. So I really handed it to them quickly. Then you have Bournemouth 4-2 loss in the first game, but people were impressed with their performance. 1-0 over Wolves, 1-0 over Tottenham, 2-1 over Brighton. And then last week a 0-0 with Newcastle at them yard. So only 2 times these 2 teams have played in the league. That was back when Leeds was in the Prem, 22-23. And they split these games, 4-3 win for Leeds at home. So the last time they played at this ground, 7 goals were scored. And as you can see, 2 matches played, 1 win for each team. Now, just to look at how the lineups looked last week, I think Leeds under Daniel Farker, they went with the 4-3-3 system. Okafor proved to be a good bit of business. He scored a nice goal last week. Calvert-Lewin off the mark for Leeds as well. And Starch scored a wicked free kick last week. Probably proving to be a really good bit of business for them going into this Premier League season, signed from, I think it was Hoffenheim in Germany. Bogle, we know, didn't train this week, but should be back for the game. And that was the starting 11 they went with last week. Now, based on the injuries that were there, no one's really coming back. So I would think after last week's performance, more than likely you see, if not all these starters, maybe just 1 or 2 changes at the most. You do have Puro on the bench, you have Mecha on the bench as well that can play striker. But I think he's going to stick with my boy name. Going to stick with Calvert-Lewin up front. So that was Leeds' team last week. No, Bournemouth's team last week that faced Newcastle. This one ended 0-0. Jimenez got the start at right back, but had to come off at halftime. James Hill, so they'll be battling it out to see who will start this one. Diakite, Senesi, Trufair, Petrovic, those guys have always been there, that 4 at least, and the right back's been rotating a bit more. Then into midfield, Adams and Scott started. We know that Christie is back. He came on in this game. But I think Scott warrants his place because Adams can do the bulk of the dirty work in front of that back line, and that leaves Scott the freedom to influence the game a bit more attacking-wise. Semenyo, Tavernier, Brooks, Evan Nielsen. Now we know some players that started out the season injured are back, like Justin Kluivert, Amin Adley as well. Is it time to get Kluivert in from the start? Pick one of Tavernier and Brooks to play out on the left-hand side? Maybe, but let's see what Andoni goes with, Iraola. He definitely, I think he has most of his backline set. Adams is a nailed-on starter. Semenyo as well, Evan Nielsen as well up front with no challenge really in the squad right now. So I think the other 3 midfield positions is where you could see some rotation. Like I said, if he wants to play Christie from the start, he's available there. That could even push Scott further up the pitch. I think Tavernier is more effective off the left or the right than central. So Kluivert, who hasn't started yet in the Prem, could finally get back in the starting lineup. So options for Iraola there. But let's see, Leeds and Bournemouth, how will this one end up? So look, for me, Leeds so far, if you go with the form at home, they don't lose there, But I feel like if a team could come and do it, it's Bournemouth, because I just feel like this team don't really fear anything. I don't think they would never lose a game because they went in fearful. I think they just try to play the football. And yeah, I don't know, man. Leeds has been kind of overperforming their points total right now. I feel like on the balance of playing some of these games, barring the first one where I think they were dominant. I think these other games they have really not looked like the better team, but still gotten results due to a sturdy defense, which they still have that team playing. But I just think Bournemouth going to cause them more problems than some of the teams that have been able to keep a clean sheet against. So for those reasons, I'm going to say Bournemouth actually goes to Ellen Road and gets the win. I'm going to go with a 2-0 scoreline. So Leeds gets blanked at their yard. Not a good scoreline for the Gunners, but prediction may I work with. Alright, so Gunners boss, me dry him out like shoes lace. See my give me score them now. 1-0. Family got flood out in Kingston. Damn, sorry to hear that, my brother. Sorry to hear that, man. Chelsea 2-1. Wait, so which game you just put? Oh, Brentford United. 1-0. I got that. Okay. Put the 3-1 in the wrong spot of that. And this a 1. But who have Albion now play Chelsea, brother? Oh, yes, they are. But I said Chelsea are going to win. Alright, so that's a 2-1. Actually, say 1-1. 1-1, me say. Bournemouth 1, Leeds 0. Yeah, I was going to go with the 1-0, but I think them will get few. Low say 1-1 as well. So a popular scoreline for this game. The 1-1 hitting the whole on happy. Bournemouth 2-1. So Dragons agree. Kinda. Can me say 2-0. How you pull up the player team layout? You mean like on the site I'm on? So when you're on the game, so all right, so let's say you click on this game against Wolves. Well, let's use the Arsenal game. And then once you're here, there's a tab right here that says lineups. Once you click that, it show the team on the screen, team sheet. With the manager, the subs them underneath what time they come on the pitch and everything. Yeah, so once you get to a game and you click on it, you're going to take it to the recap first with the writing and all the player, the match and them something there. And then you just go to lineups and it show you. Yeah. So if that's what you're asking, that's how you get there. No Cole Palmer is a problem, say Fabi. All right. No do could have forward with the list, All right. So Brentford 0, Man U 3. So the man I drink the stats Kool-Aid were out there now. Leeds 1, Bournemouth 2. So if the man them drop 3 love this week at Brentford, when I go allow Amarim and just make him go and coach and just leave him alone. Chelsea 2, Brighton 1, Man City 3, Burnley 0, Palace 1, Liverpool 2, Forest 2, Sunderland 1, Tottenham 2, Wolves 0, Villa 2, Fulham 1, Newcastle 1, Arsenal 2, and Everton 2, West Ham 0. Leeds 1, Cherries 3, say Game Birds. All right. Yeah, man. Palmer won't be back until after the international break, them say. Floats a 2-1 to the Blues. All right. And 2-2 Palace and Liverpool. Leeds Bournemouth to reach. So give me that one there. We say just one match alone. All right, fair enough. You say I can't cuss him on a week when him win. I agree still. 2-all. Okay, got that. Yeah, got that one already. All right, so you leave him for a week. Well, that is nice. You can get a break. 2-1 leads. All right, Float, big up yourself. Float does. I love when people make prediction with different, Float are the only person. Yep, the only person on this list that went for a Leeds win. So let's see. Man say Ellen Road going to be on fire. All right, so the last game in the 10 o'clock window is Man City hosting Burnley. When you look at the stats here, Man City in 9th place, Burnley in 16th. 2 wins, 1 draw, 2 loss for City. 1 win, 1 draw, 3 loss for Burnley. 5 goals scored in the 5 games, 9 for City. You see the XG difference there. Performing right about at XG City, 4.125, not bad. Need more chances creating though for sure because the XG is very low. 2 clean sheets for City, 1 for Burnley. City started the season 4-0 away at the Molineux. Then they came back to the Etihad and lost 2-0 to Spurs. Went away to Brighton and lost 2-1. But they bounced back against Man U with a 3-0. And Arsenal were about 2 minutes from going to the Emirates and taking all 3 points after that 1-all draw. 3-0 loss for Burnley away. At home though, 2-0 over Sunderland, 3-2 away at Old Trafford. 1-0 at home to Liverpool, nothing to be ashamed about there. And then at home last week, getting a good point against Nottingham Forest. So Burnley last week, this is how they started out their team against Forest. They went with a back 5, Ekdal, Lara, and Esteve in the back line, Walker and Hartman as the wing backs. Chauna, Colin, Florentino, and Jaden Anthony in the midfield, and then Lyle Foster up front. Then for Nottingham Forest, the interesting thing about them is they made their appearance for the first time in the Europa League. They were in the Europa League this week, and they actually had a decent first game in Europe. They traveled to Spain to take on Real Betis, and they fell just short of getting 3 points when Anthony found the goal in the second half. I think in the end was probably deserved because they were really under pressure in that second half. But to be honest, over how well they played in the first half, they probably should have just been out of sight by then, to be honest. But they weren't able to get more than the 2 goals they found. And in the end, Betis fought back to make it 2-2. So I'm looking at the lineup from the Betis game, and I'm looking at the lineup from last week. And pretty much the backline and goalkeeper was the same. Anderson played midweek and played last week. But all the other players that started in the Europa. All right, so Louise and Anderson played in the week as well. So Louise and Anderson, Gibbs White, yep, and they went with the bench Wood. So look, I know Chris Wood had a bag of goals last year, but I'm going to be honest with you, this Igor Jesus guy, yeah, he's probably better than Chris Wood, bro. It's tough, because I think eventually the coach is going to start playing Igor more because he probably suits the style of play. He wants to play a bit more than Wood. But again, it's so hard to say you're not going to start Chris Wood based on what he was able to do last season, So it's going to be a sticky one, I think, moving forward. Remember me telling you that there might be a chance that this man go away from Chris Wood as the starter, Don't run to say Igor Jesus. He had both goals in the midweek game. Man of the match performance for him, just about. Well, Anthony prepped him for that, but Yeah, he was definitely the best player for Nottingham Forest on the day. Now, this meeting has happened 18 times in the league, and remarkably, only one win out of 18 for Burnley, 3 draws, and 14 wins for Manchester City. So 2 seasons ago when they played, 3-1 at Etihad, 3-0 away from home, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0. So for whatever reason, a clean sheet for City looks like a good bet, you know. Donnarumma in goal, of course. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with that. I'm gonna say this one is a convincing 3-0 win. Convincing 3-0 win. I think City get this one over the line. Maybe 3-1, but I'm gonna say for prediction purposes, 3-0 to Manchester City for this one. All right, cool. That was it. Yeah, man. Kusanov out, brother. As a matter of fact, as I said that, how may I diss the man them so? I say everybody prediction, I may never show no. This was the team that faced Arsenal last week. I don't know why they have the formation like this. It should be, 7-3-0, or 7-2-0. But anyway, this is how they started. Kusanov could only last 45 minutes. He had to get subbed off. He was actually, for the first time in his City career, having a decent run of games. Too bad for him, he's out. So what's going to happen more than likely, Nunes will play right back. I think O'Reilly keeps his place on the left. The centre backs might get rotated, because you never know with Pep. But I think they should start Rodri, Reinders, Silva, Foden, Doku, Haaland. I think this was two straight games in the league where they picked this team. I think it continues. I think this 11 starts again. The only thing I could see maybe they're trying is going with a more out and out winger on this right side. So maybe Savinho, since he's been playing his back, they can slide forward and a little more central. I don't think they'll need all that coverage in midfield. So Roger by himself should be able to do the job. And I think Nunes and O'Reilly can probably get involved in the attack as well. Because I don't think Burnley's going to have much of the football on this day. So yeah, 3-0. I'm going to go with for Manchester City. 3-0 for Manchester City. All right, let's take a look at the comment section. City 2, Burnley 1. Jaden Anthony to get on the score sheet. All right. City 3-1 says Chile. Why? I don't know what I'm saying. 2-0 City says Float. The manager of the Floats. I think you have the matchup wrong. Which matchup? What am I have wrong? Which matchup may I have wrong, sir? City 3, Burnley 0. I like my score. Jaguars 3-0. All right, I'm going to see how much I will correct, That's quite a few 3-0s. All right, next match is going to be the 12:30 game in the United States, in the East Coast, 5:30 in England. And that is going to be between Nottingham Forest and Sunderland. So Sunderland, one of the surprise packages so far this season, as evidenced by their 7th place position after 5 games. Forest down in 15th, probably a surprise to some, but I think it can be explained by some of the shenanigans going on at the club to start the season. 5 goals scored for Forest, 6 for Sunderland, so neither team really scoring at will in the league right now. Both XGs very close to each other as well, so these teams probably going to match up pretty well. Forest, surprisingly, no clean sheets yet, while Sunderland, the promoted team, has been able to get 2. So they started out with a dream start, 3-0 to West Ham. They went away to fellow promoted club Burnley and lost 2-0, and they beat Brentford at home. They've drawn their last 2 games, and 0-0 away match with Palace and a 1-1 draw at home to Villa last week. Now, Nottingham Forest, as I said before, 1 win, 2 draws, 2 losses. They won 3-1 to start the season at home. Drew away at Palace 1-1. Lost 3-0 to West Ham. That was the last game for Nuno. Then 3-0 away to Arsenal. Nothing to really, get so upset about there. And then Burnley away last week, they could only muster a 1-1 draw. So for Forest, this was the lineup that they went with. Oh, I see what you mean. I was showing these people when I was supposed to be showing Burnley's team. Yes, you're correct. So we've already gone through this. Forest made enough changes, I think, in midweek to maybe come back with the same lineup. But like I said, Louise is kind of doubtful, so maybe Sangare comes into play there. And I could see Hudson Odoi getting back his start as well. I would personally play Igor Jesus from the start, but I think Andrew will stick with Chris Wood to start. But I think his pulling from the games in that second half is going to get shorter or quicker and quicker because I think Igor Jesus is forcing his way into the team. Now for Nottingham Forest, they do face Sunderland, and this was their lineup last week to face Villa at home. Roofs has been a revelation in goal. Mukiele was proven to be good business for them. Alderete is strong in defense. Mandava will be serving a ban, so he's out. Hume on the right back side, Xhaka anchoring that midfield. You know, these players around Xhaka can be interchanged for the most part. I do think Isidore has pretty much nailed down his start right now, or at least for the time being. Talbi, Lefay, you never know. He could switch that up. They have quite a few options. Mayenda can play from the wing. Obviously, Adingra, who's kind of fallen out of favor, didn't get a game last week. Bertrand Traore, another winger, that's not really getting opportunities right now. And Brabe, I'm surprised they haven't figured out how to get him some game time. But like I said, Isidore has been on fire. Mayenda started and scored in the first game. So I guess that's just what's keeping Brabe out the team. I'm very surprised as well that Gertrude are not getting more game time. Like, this player is a baller, you know. But let's see. Yeah, they did buy a lot of people, so Lebrie gonna have to figure out how to get all of them integrated. But Sunderland, more options than a normal promoted team, I think, did a decent job in the window. But Nottingham Forest, Sunderland is a tough one to call. And anytime we get so close with the calls in my brain, I just have to stick with my guns. So I'm gonna say this one ends in a 1-1 result. 1-1 result for me, Nottingham Forest and Sunderland. Oh yeah, because you're probably looking at a game that don't play yet. That don't play yet. But once you click on the preview and let's say you scroll down, you're going or you go to stats and you scroll down and you click on a whole game, you're going to see the lineup tab there. Where it said 3 players that will score for bonus points. Ooh, I already have my bonus point system. You don't need nothing else. Why am I on the right? So why you have to say backside that way there? Right back space side. Move up with your smutty mind. Forest 2-1. Nitro here there. Okay, see Nitro there. 2-1. 1-1 Nottingham Forest, says Odell. Wait, so I get low Man City score? Oh yeah, I write it low. Come here, say me no low, give me a score, you know. Alright, 1-1 Nottingham Forest, say low. Mad. 1-0 say Chile. So first clean sheet of the season, Chile say. Yeah, man, me scroll and see it low. Respect. 2-1 Forest. I see that score like that too, but I stick with the 1-all. Sunderland been a fine results, you know, man. Everywhere. You know, them man just a fine results out of thin air. Alright, so Jaguars, Game Birds, Gunners Boss gone again. Everybody else up to date. Alright, so last fixture, we get a late night fixture in England, 8 o'clock kickoff, 3 o'clock in eastern parts of the USA, and that is Spurs versus Wolves. So this particular game now, people, why this thing takes so long? All right, here we go. So Tottenham versus Wolves. So Wolves yet to get a point so far this season. 5 L's. Only 3 goals scored in 5. Spurs 3 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. Another team under 10 points. Just goal difference separate them and Arsenal and Bournemouth in fourth. Behind them, um, you see the XG in favor of Spurs, but not by about 1.5 or so, 6.13 to 4.42. 3 clean sheets for Spurs makes all the difference to none for Wolves. Of course, they've lost every game, so how could they? 4-0, 1-0, 3-2, 1-0, and 3-1. So 3 of the games they have not scored, and they have 3 goals in basically the other 2. Tottenham, 2 wins on the bounce, then a bad loss at home to Bournemouth before the international break. Then they came back and defeated West Ham 3-0 away from home and a 2-all draw as well away at the Amex last go around. And that was a come from behind draw as well. 22 times these teams played in the league, 9 wins for Wolves, 9 for Spurs, and 4 draws. So it's very, very even in this fixture. Last time they played, Wolves got a 4-2 win in April. Can see with that loss because I think Andrew's throwing all his eggs into the Europa League basket, which worked out for them because they're in the Champions League now. They drew 2-all in the reverse fixture last season. Wolves would love for that to be the result this time. But the time before that, they were able to get a 2-1 victory. So they have fond memories. It's been Wolves for the most part in this fixture. 4 wins for Wolves out of 5, and the one time they didn't win, it was a 2-all draw. So for whatever reason, the last 5 games they have had their number, and Wolves fans that would be praying that can be the case this week again. Now Tottenham did have a midweek game to play, but let's look at how they turned out last week. Richarlison, I think, will stay because there's no strikers to really replace him right now that are fit. Then also we have Odebear and Kudus start. I think Kudus will hold on that right-hand side, but I think the left side is much harder to predict. You have the likes of Brennan Johnson, who started and played the entire game in the Carabao Cup. So that's not looking good for them. They had a 3-0 win over Doncaster. He got the final goal, and he did start and play the entire match there. Started Xavi Simons, who didn't start last week. I think Xavi Simons probably comes back into the lineup, but the key is going to be, where do you play him? Midweek, he played more in the midfield, not necessarily as a winger like he did in the first couple of appearances. So let's see what the coach goes with and where they put him, but I think he will come back in. I think Paulinho starts as well. Whether he goes with Bentancur, Matassar comes back in from the start. Berval has been playing well for them. So let's see what he decides to do there. Last week, he did start Udogie over Jed Spence. Jed Spence did start the cup match and sub off in the 75th. Is that a sign that Udogie is going to be the Premier League guy? Let's wait and see. I'm not really certain on that. I think Porro will keep his place. He did play the whole game and captain the team in their last matchup in the EFL Cup. But I just don't see that. I don't honestly see a right back replacement for him. There's some makeshift players that could play over there. Danso, Archie Gray. It could be that he starts Udogie on the left and actually plays Spence on the right. Gives Porro a rest. That's an option as well. But I think Van de Ven and Romero and Vicario definitely will be there. So Tottenham, lot of choices for the manager. It's going to be interesting to see first couple of weeks of playing a midweek game in Champions League, weekend, now cup game, now back to the weekend. So let's see how Spurs manage that moving forward. But for me, people, Wolves have proven to be a bogey team for Spurs. Do I think the bogey is going to happen this time? I'm not sure, but I think at best, Wolves can get a draw. Don't see Tottenham being so Spursy and giving Wolves the first win. But I do see them being Spursy and giving them their first draw. So I'm gonna say 2 Desmond Tutu again. I know that's a mad choice, but yeah, I just have a feeling, bro. Tolu and Strand last now cause problem. All right, so that's all the Saturday fixtures. So we have 3 more left on the docket. Let me see. Yeah, Wolves are really bad, but I'm gonna try a thing this week, bro. I just have a feeling, you know. Spurs 1, Wolves 0. Yeah, me don't know, but me I try to figure out how you know find it, you know. They say them just need to lock up shop. But I don't know. Wolves have these spells in the games where them not look three bad, you know. That me I try to tell you, you know. Yes, them a lose every damn game, but trust me, not far away from getting a result, bro. I think I'm Forest 2-0. Odell says Spurs 1-0. So I agree the game will go close then. Alright, Chile said no, more than that, 3-1. Pristine in the building. Go on. Another member of the channel. Alright, this is my pick. United 2-1. So United away from home 2-1. Leeds 1-all. Okay. Chelsea 2-1 over Brighton. Man City 2-0 over Burnley. Liverpool 2-0 over Palace. Forest 2-1 over Sunderland. Tottenham 2-1 over Wolves. Villa. Yeah, I missed the Villa game. No, you're not. It's a Fulham 2-1 over Villa. Newcastle losing 2-0. And Everton 2-1 over West Ham. All right, pristine. You're locked in. Game Bird said 2-1 to Sunderland. Me mama clot. Is that the only Sunderland pick? Oh yeah, you and Joseph. You and my dog Joseph, you know? Tottenham 2-1. Jaguar said. And Spurs 4-1. So after the first man said it's gonna be a drubbing. Float said 2-0. Yeah, man, Nuno can go back home, man. But them, you know, so them just give my boy you see, before them get them 5th L, the week leading up to that game, Vitor Pereira just signed a new contract with them. So I said, John won't start. Man, them give him a new contract just for pay him off when them buy him out. All right, so 2 matches Sunday. Like this when the Premier League do this and just give you 2 matches so you can watch 2 games and don't have to try watch 2 at once. So Aston Villa versus Fulham is the curtain raiser Sunday morning. That's what 2 o'clock kickoff in England. So eighth position for Fulham. Aston Villa crazily in the relegation zone right now. No wins yet. 3 draws, 2 losses. And amazingly, people, it took them 5 weeks to get a goal. Finally getting a goal last week in a 1-all draw. Fulham haven't been prolific scoring, but at least them scoring more than 1 game. 1-all, 1-all, 2-0 loss to Chelsea away. 1-0 win over Leeds at home and a 3-1 win over Brentford at home. So those 2 back-to-back wins really put them in good stead and set them up going into this Villa game. If they can make it 3 on the bounce, that would be a good look for them. 34 played in the league between these two. 7 wins for Fulham, 16 wins for Aston Villa, and 11 drawn games. Last year, Villa did the double over them, 3-1 at the Cottage and 1-0 at Villa Park in May. So let's see how it looks. 1 goal scored for Villa. That is mad. 6 goals for Fulham. XG is low as well. 3.85, 5.39 to Fulham. 2 clean sheets for Villa and 1 clean sheet for Fulham. So that's how it looks as far as the statistics goes. Now, this is the lineup that Sunderland used to face. What am I doing? It's the lineup that Villa used to face Sunderland, sorry. And this is how they started out. Now, most of these players, Villa, even though they have sold every single player on their damn team, they do have to contend with the Europa League this year as well. And they got their campaign underway midweek. So let me just take a look at that lineup as well and just kind of reference to what we saw last week and see who play a game. So Martinez was subbed off for Bizzo in the Europa League, but we heard that that was an injury-based thing, not because Bizzo is going to be the cup keeper or the Europe keeper. Matty Cash start and play the whole game last week and in the midweek as well. Konza did the same. Torres came in for Mings, so it's going to be an either or there at left centre back. And Dina was rotated for Matson. I think that rotation will continue there. Kamara and Magin in the pivot as well as in the pivot in this game. And the three behind the striker were identical. And the only difference, Daniel Marlin got the start up front for Ali Watkins. So, they do have options though. Sancho could start, maybe has enough in his legs now to start a game. And I think Ali Watkins will come back in. So, Aston Villa team right now, based on, having to field quite a few kids on their bench at this point. Victor Lindelof brought in for reinforcements, hasn't seen the field as yet. Harvey Elliott, I'm surprised he hasn't gotten more game as well. I would think he would be able to hold that spot down that Descent is playing in after a little while. But let's see what happens with Harvey Elliott. But he ain't really getting that much game. Villa, by the way, did win their game against Bologna 1-0 in midweek. I think who scored the goal? No, it wasn't Matty Cash. It was John McGinn scoring in that game. So, Aston Villa, Fulham people. Let me take a look at Fulham's lineup when they face Brentford real quick. Iwobi had a wicked game in this game. King was unlucky again. I think he's one of those players that haven't really scored or assist yet, but can see that it's coming with him. Harry Wilson just produces goals or assists all the time. You see the back line there. Defensive contribution, people. This guy is a beast. Every game so far, him get 2 extra points in fantasy because of the contribution. So, man, Joachim Anderson. Yeah, so I wouldn't be totally shocked if Fulham didn't just forward out and run back this lineup because, they did have a game in the cup in the week, but I think it was a super change lineup. So, yeah, reserve goalkeeper play Castagna right back, Diop and Cuenca, Anthony Robinson, who is back fit, but can't get in the Premier League team right now. He played Harrison Reed, Tom Kearney, Adama Traore, Emil Smith-Rowe, Kevin, and Raul Jimenez. So they changed out the entire 11 for the cup. So I think that more than likely, unless somebody super impressed against Cambridge, then I could see, maybe Emil Smith-Rowe gets rewarded for scoring in that game and gets the start over King. I don't know, but let's see. We shall see. I think Fulham does have, when you look at it, Fulham have more options than all. Like, who we just talked about a while ago? Tottenham? No, Forest. No, they have more than Tottenham too, almost. Just about. Well, the man par. Fulham squad ain't terrible, man. A whole heap of baller. So they're out him on the side. Only bad news for them, I think Kevin might be injured. The Brazilian them just by with full of skill. All right, Newcastle versus Arsenal, people. This one should be a big one. But before we move on to this one, it would help if I actually said the score of the Villa Fulham game. So, well, I'm going to be honest, part of me want to say 0-0, but I'm not going to say it. Draw, Sarah continues for Villa, man. 2-1 Fulham, Villa have to go convince me that them out of this foolishness for them there. I don't see it though. I was gonna go 1-1 Nitro, but I'll let you have it this time. 1-1. Fulham 1 love. So Low agree with me that Villa does not have nothing going right now. Chile say 1-0 Villa, so a scrape. 2-1 Fulham say float as well. Villa Park, I don't really want to give them the winning now, but the fans are just upset with them once the game start. 2-1 with 2-1 Fulham as well. Okay, so the people, true culture in the building, bless up yourself, Hope all is well, my G. All right, so Newcastle and Arsenal now, people. So Newcastle and Arsenal. So both of these teams were busy this week and last. Champions League last week, and this week would have been the EPL Cup matches. So we're going to do the same thing, people. We're going to cross-reference the squad them in the EPL Cup with them use, and then look and see, if any players play more minutes than you thought them would have played or anything like that. So this is the stats for the team so far. Arsenal in second position, 3 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. Newcastle 1 win, 3 draws and 1 loss. So that's 13th position for them. Only 3 goals scored in the league. I was shocked when I was doing some research this week and seeing that Newcastle I don't think Newcastle has scored a goal away from home in the league yet, or some madness like that. Arsenal with 10 goals so far. XG for Arsenal at 7.39. So, decent returns to the XG, I must say. 4.57 for Newcastle. So they should have at least maybe a goal or 2 more. Clean sheets, 4 kept for Newcastle and 3 for Arsenal. So that's what's been keeping them in these fixtures. 4 clean sheets for Newcastle. Nil all. Every time they've gotten a clean sheet, besides the 1-0 victory over Wolves at home, it's been 0-0. On the other side, Arsenal 1-0, 5-0, 1-0 lost to Liverpool, 3-0 over Forest, and then conceding again in the 5th matchup against City. Early to Haaland, only to equalize late through Martinelli. So Newcastle's lineup, actually, before we get there, one of the most played fixtures in the EPL. 60 times this match has been played. 36 wins for Arsenal, 13 for Newcastle, and 11 drawn games. So 2 1-0 results last season. So it's very, very tight. 4-1 at the Emirates, 1-0 before that at St. James Park. So last season, this 1-0 was a hot one. I believe, is this the game where Gordon, Isak scored early, and we just huffed and puffed and could never get anything going. 1 shot on target the entire game. So wasn't a good day for us. We returned the favor with a 1-0, but that game was kind of meaningless for us at least. So yeah, it is what it is. So let's take a look at Newcastle's team that faced Bournemouth. Now we know at this point Anthony Gordon was on suspension still, so the coach ended up going with a madness. We've never seen this much from Eddie Howe lately, a 3-4-2-1. But it actually proved to be a decent tactic because they did stifle Bournemouth for long times in the game. And what's interesting about this lineup is it's some would argue it's weaker than what we saw against what them named Bradford City in the cup. So when you look at it, obviously they played a 4-3-3, so a different system. So one of the centre backs would have been dropped, but Thiaw and Batman kept their place, right? So the first choice Premier League centre back pairing of Shar and Byrne, got the midweek rest, right? They didn't play in the midweek. Then you move into left back. Hall kept his spot after playing left wing back, but Emil Kraft came in at right back this time to give a rest to Livramento. Livramento came on for Hall after about 60 minutes, so that's going to be an option for him on the day. Does he go with Trippier at right back, with Livramento at left back? Does he play Livramento at right back and play Lewis Hall at left back? That was kind of how they played most of last season. Then moving into midfield, you see the midfield on the screen, Miley and Tonali in the middle there. Well, this was a 4-3-3 in the cup, and actually Miley kept his place. Tonali was the one that rested. But interestingly, Joe Linton and Bruno, who missed this fixture the week before, um, you know, I guess they were just getting a rest because they played against Bradford City in an EFL Cup match for 90 minutes. Both had really good games, but just surprising that he would put that much running into their legs before the Sunday game. But that's what Eddie Howe chose to do. And Anthony Elanga played off the right, Anthony Gordon off the left. I wouldn't be shocked if Gordon plays again because he's missed some games due to suspension and he's back, so he can he's probably, fresher than some other players would be playing 90 minutes during the week to play again. Harvey Barnes, another option up front they could use. Murphy, we know, was kind of dealing with a little bit of an injury. He had to miss the EFL Cup matchup altogether. He's available for contention again, but I think it will be Voltmad, Anthony Gordon on the left, and Elanga on the right. That's what I think he'll start with. But let's see how it plays out. Like I said, they made some changes, but the head scratchers for me, Joe Linton and Bruno getting 90 minutes in an AFL Cup game that they probably had won from, the first, 25, 30 minutes. It looked like they were going to win the game. They were up 2-0. But yeah, that's what they decided to do there. Now, Man City, this was their lineup to face Arsenal, and not in typical Pep fashion, this lineup was the same lineup in, I think, this might have been like the third game in a row, because they used them the week before in the Prem, they used them in the Champions League, the same 11, and then they came back and did it again against Arsenal. No, it's not possible this week because Kusanov is out. So let's see what kind of tweaks they make. But in their cup game that they played, I think it was another game where it was, pretty much wholesale changes. Let's just take a look. They defeated Huddersfield 2-0. Foden kept his position, but Bob and Savinho came on to replace Silva and Doku. Nico Gonzalez played with Rico Lewis to give Rodri and Reinders a rest. And Mukasa, the young 18-year-old, played, and Haaland was on the bench. And pretty much, Haaland didn't even travel. He was at home, left home. Calvin Phillips had a sighting there, and the two Heskey sons came on to give their father a proud moment. But yeah, it was a lot of kids. Diaz and Silva left on the bench with Donnarumma once it was all said and done. But looks like they have made enough changes. Ake and John Stones, I don't think would be the starting centre back pairing in this. Why am I looking at Manchester City though? Yeah, idiot, Arsenal, if you look on. All right, so we know Madueke out. Zine, we know Merino playing 90 minutes or close to it at striker. So I'd be shocked if him forward again for start. But you never know with this brother because he really, really likes Mikel Merino a lot. And I like the player too, but I just feel like we need to not play him with certain players with him, So this week in the EFL Cup, Arsenal beat Port Vale. It was 2-0. The crazy thing is, you look at the starting lineup last week against City and you don't see anybody named, you don't see a number 10 named Eza, right? But we go to Port Vale to play a match, and who starts the game in midfield? Eza. So Eza played, interestingly enough, he played Rice's role in this game. Obviously, had a lot more freedom against a team like Port Vale than Rice would normally. And then Waneri played where Merino played. And it looked good. It looked good, to be honest. Now, is Arsenal away to St. James Park the best place to do that? Probably not. So I doubt we'll see that same thing. But it's good to see that he sees Eze being able to play either spot, either left or right of the number 6, whoever that is. So Zubimendi, Rice, I think will come back for this one against Newcastle. He's so stubborn that I wouldn't even be surprised if the man don't just play Merino there again and play the same midfield 3. But I think if Odegaard is fit, he'll come back in for Merino. Me personally, I would play Saka, Gyökeres, and Eza on the left. But let's see what the coach decides. And I think the back line and goalkeeper probably stays the same as of right now. I don't think Lewis Kelly, I think Hincapie is still kind of nursing an injury. I don't think he'll be back in the lineup. But, Lewis Kelly started and played the entire game, played well. but wasn't really challenged against Port Vale. And to be honest, I think Calafiori has been playing well. So if he is playing well, let him at least fall out of form before you take him out. So I would probably stick with the same backline and goalkeeper. I think Odegaard comes back in for Marino. Saka forced to come back in for Madueke, who is out. And me personally, Eberechi Eze has to start every game. I don't care if it's left wing, left midfield, right midfield, attacking midfield, but put him on the field. Just put him on the field. Put him on the field. Let him play himself into the Eze form where we know him can get to. So yeah, based on the lineups, that's I think midweek. I think we did our rotations and everything. So yeah, Saliba got 90 more minutes under his belt. He should be back sharper for this game. I think he was a little bit lacking that match fitness in the last one, which kind of cost us. But in this particular fixture, people, I think that Arsenal get back to the clean sheet style. So we're gonna keep them to 0. I'm just grappling with the idea of a 1-0 or a few nil. I'm gonna say a few nil. They start pushing us late for equalize and we'll find a second late. So yeah, 2-0 to the Gunners away from home. 2-0. Fulham will win. Martinez out. Yeah, he's probably out. So it's gonna be a race against the clock. He could play, but it never looked so convincing from Emery today. Chile said 1-1 in this one. Big up gigs. Let's say I gotta drop the whole of them. Let me know. 1-0 to the Gunners, says Nitro. Smart man. Yes, he had a goal and assist last week. He's on fire. Arsenal 2-0. So Odello agree with my scoreline. 2-1. So Dragons. 1-0 to the Gunners, say float. 1 Barca. Bless up, Conrad. Yeah, man, Calvin Phillips to rotted. There was a Calvin sighting, man. Should have come to Jamaica, Calvin. That midfield scares no one. For real. Yeah, man, it's crazy, man. That man, there was a talk of the town. Remember that? Was it a Euro or was it a World Cup? Brother, the man played good in the midfield, bro. Him and was it him, Jordan Henderson, or him, Rice? And who was the third person in that midfield? Well, let me play like the two in the base of the midfield. And then Jude more advanced from them. But yeah, man, that midfielder that go on, man. All right, so we'll get some bonus football on a Monday. So people, I like to let the whole game week play and then move forward on the whatever day the last game play that night. You're gonna see we run out with the review. So look out for the show Monday night, people. Everton, West Ham. It might be a little late on the show because I think I'm gonna want to watch the wait name there. I want to watch the JPL match where I played that night there, Monday night, I think I did look and say, John, the game I look like a game mode I watch. Yeah, Waterhouse Chapelton. So yeah, the Waterhouse Chapelton game. That's 8:30. So yeah, probably about 10 o'clock I run out with the review show. Just to be honest, probably going to be a late one the night there. All right, well, not really. Me probably have it to play and still do the show, but I'm not sure. Just have to see. Maybe if I can start the show a little earlier that day there, so I can get off and watch the Waterhouse Chapelton match. Come on, see that game there. Malines Portmore. I think Portmore will win that one. So I'm gonna have to watch that one there. But the Waterhouse Chapelton one, I want to see that one there. 2-1 Everton, says float. Everton say, I no need to see no kind of breakdown for nothing, brother. Everton a win. All right, so Everton, West Ham, final fixture of the weekend. Just to take a look at the stats. Relegation zone right now, West Ham 1 win, but they have lost 4. Everton 2 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses, 6 goals scored, 5 goals scored for West Ham. Um, them conceding 3 per match. West Ham, jeez and peas. XG 7.11, not bad for Everton. 4.97 for West Ham. 2 clean sheets to 1. As you can see the form right here, 1-0 away loss. Tough loss for them in the first game, even though Leeds really battered them that day. Brighton, 2-0. 3-2 away win at Wolves. 0-0 draw with Villa. And a 2-1 away loss to Liverpool. Good performance by them though, I thought, especially second half. West Ham 3-0 away, 5-1 at home loss, 3-0 away to Forest, which is proving to be like just a mad, like perfect timing for West Ham to play somebody. And then I said it as well. I said, I don't trust this 3-0. And I turn around and get 3-0 at home to Tottenham. And then lost again at home 2-1 to Crystal Palace. So not looking good for them right now. 58 played in this division between these two teams. 29 wins for Everton, 14 for West Ham with 15 drawn games. They had 2 draws in the fixtures last year. And guess what, people? This one won't be a draw. I don't think this one will draw. But let's just take a look real quick at the lineups that Everton played against Liverpool with. I could see this lineup being exactly the same come tomorrow. Maybe you could start a different striker. Maybe Barry gets the nod, but I could see either one of them starting. But I think this team probably stays just like this, except for the striker, maybe. And I wouldn't be shocked if the striker does start again. And then when you go to West Ham, no telling what this coach going to do. So Ariola got the nod. I know they picked up Fabianski the other day. Maybe they give him a chance to play. I don't know. But this was starting lineup last week. Kyle Walker-Peters has been decent at right back. Mavropanos, Killman, Diouf. Diouf had the assist on the corner that they scored from through Bowen. Bowen, Wilson, Somerville. I think that probably will continue. Paqueta, Ward-Prowse, Fernandez. That's the part where maybe he would want something else, but Guido Rodriguez hasn't really hit the ground with this club like you'd have wanted to. Magassa is another option in there now that maybe they could turn to for a little more legs in the midfield. But I think he's gonna have to get that balance right. I'm surprised Igor Julio hasn't gotten a chance to play. To me, this team looks like a back 3 team all day long, back 5 team, but I know that Potter likes the back 4 system, so let's see. Let's see what they decide to do. But they need to do something because it's not working out for them. Like even though Wolves don't go on any points and them gone 3, I feel like Wolves playing better than West Ham right now, to be honest. I more trust Wolves to find a result than this team. I think West Ham's problems continue. I think Everton are a good enough outfit now to just handle a team like West Ham up and down as they are. So I'm gonna say Everton win this one 2. I want to say nil, but Jared Bowen playing, so if him don't score, him will find a way to set up a goal or something. I'm gonna go 2-1 Everton, get the result. Yeah, man, 2-1 to Everton. Castle 2, Arsenal 1. So Game Birds. Game Birds is the only man or one other person from earlier, surely today when we get it. Them say 3-1 Newcastle. Like, damn, wicked. 2-0 Everton, says Odell Low. Potter out, Antonio in. Big coach. 2-1 to Dragons. All right. Everton 3-1. And Everton 2-0, says Game Birds. All right. All right. So everybody with it there and I take part while we do it. Respect. I have all of yours. I have all the people from Shirley around. Me go and check the social media before tomorrow morning. I'm sure some of you might just drop it in the comment section. Biggs G. Well, float there today. But who else normally drop it in the comments for me? Anyway, I don't know anyways. I will look out for them hopefully, and I will check the time as well because if I drop it halftime of the first game, guess what? Straight hell when I get in the first game, no kind of bad madness thing can go on like that. All right, community comments. It's Let me see. Yeah, Grizzle, Biggs G, and Red Skull. Yo, Red Skull there. But Red Skull will probably send me the message. And then Biggs G, if I write you in as well. Come on, know you're gonna send for your one too. So yeah, that is it. That is it, people. So we're going through all the fixtures for the week. Like I said, anybody that didn't have a chance to be here live, just go ahead and drop the comment in the comment section under the video, and that way you guys can take part in it as well. So look, you don't know fantasy people, I have the FPL up there in the title, and my main question is this the week to actually pull the trigger with the wild card? Now, when I did my fantasy draft or my fantasy team, the first team I picked, I didn't have Erling Haaland. I went with Salah over Haaland based on a lot of things, based on last season, based on just I like Salah more as a player, a lot of reasons. But it's becoming increasingly difficult to make sense of not putting Haaland in my FPL team. So my question is, like, I have 2 free transfers and I have the money to make it work to get rid of Salah and get Haaland. Is the answer to do that and get Haaland for this week against Burnley, or just go ahead and drop the wild card and just kind of refresh the team? Because a lot of my picks were dependent on not having Haaland. Now that I get Haaland, it might affect the rest of my team, because I think what end up happening is I would have to get rid of a striker that I don't really want to get rid of to get Haaland. When if I just do a wild card, I can have all the strikers I want with Haaland. So that's my predicament right now, because the only way I can get Haaland if I use the 2 transfers is to get rid of Salah for a cheaper player. Now, I could always go really budget with the midfield choice, and then I can keep the other striker I have that's a lot of money and get Haaland too. But I just wonder if it's better to just go ahead and do the wild card and just reset my team moving forward, because I don't have any Arsenal defenders, and their fixtures are about to turn for the better after Newcastle. And plus, Arsenal can get clean sheet results against anybody. So I feel like it's a travesty to be an Arsenal fan and not have no Arsenal defenders in my team in a game where they keep clean sheets like crazy. So a lot of the choices for me to make this week. Right now, when I turn off this, I'm about to literally make the decision. I have a couple of things set up that I've done already just to play with, and I just have to make the choice. Am I going to do the 2 transfers, or am I going to wild card this week? Because a part of the reason why I don't want a wild card is I feel like I'll have better use of my chips if I just do the 2 transfers and triple captain Haaland this week. Because I do think that he's going to score some goals on Burnley this week for sure. So I don't know, man. I don't know what you guys think, but I'm leaning towards the 2 transfers, triple captain Haaland, and then next week use my wild card. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards, especially since if I use the wild card, I'm going to put 2 Arsenal defenders in it, and we're playing Newcastle this week. I should probably wait until 1 more week when we actually book a different team. That's my thought process. Because even though I predicted a clean sheet for Arsenal in this, I don't, I'm not like super confident that that's actually what will happen. We have a West Ham home game next, Fulham away, Palace at home, Burnley away. So those 4 fixtures, I could see us getting 3 out of 4 clean sheets right there. So I just need to get the Arsenal players in the team, but I feel like I can get away with not doing it for this Newcastle week. So I think I'm leaning towards the 2 transfers, get Haaland in my team, sadly take Salah out my team, and triple captain Haaland this week. I think that's what I might do. And with my luck, if I do that, Salah turn up against Palace and score a hat-trick or some crap. But I don't see that happening. I think Palace defensively ain't gonna give up so many goals like that. I would be surprised, put it that way. Yeah, people, but listen, as always, it was my pleasure to bring you the content on this wicked EPL preview show. Week 5 or week 6, sorry, we're heading into amazingly already 6 weeks in. Let's see, like I said, who will falter. Will Liverpool finally drop some points? It's a tricky one at Palace, so let's see. I'm sure their crowd will be fully up for it. They have been known to take a scalp or 2 at home of late. So let's see if they can take what would be considered the biggest one right now in the Premier League when Liverpool comes to town tomorrow morning. Curtain raiser, Brentford United. Let's see. I went with a United win. Let's see if my prediction is going to be correct or not. It's going to be an interesting one. Brentford, a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde team this season. Good performances, indifferent ones, not so good ones. United's performances have been decent. I think the Fulham game is maybe the one game where they weren't that great. But I think every other game they've played pretty well. Haven't always gotten the result. But yeah, when you look at their shots on target, chances created, they're up there amongst the best in the league so far. So if they can just get a little bit more clinical, I think they might have an uptick in the results. But at the end of the day, they still have that back line, which I don't trust. And they still have a goalkeeper that I don't fully trust. And I'm sure their fans don't either. So that's going to hold them back just a little bit, I think. But yeah, should be some interesting ones. I think City breezes this week, to be honest. The Forest, Sunderland, Tottenham, Wolves game. The Tottenham Wolves game especially might not look like a game to be worried about for Tottenham, but Tottenham is that team, man. They'll play really well against City when they come to town, or even at the Etihad. But then Wolves, who they're supposed to beat, will come to the stadium and they just lay a egg. They go down 2-0 or some crap. So I just feel like Tottenham going to have one of those days where it don't make sense. That's why I went for the draw. Could be wrong there, but that's just my feeling. I think Fulham get the better of Aston Villa, and Arsenal get the better of Newcastle. So I think the home teams lose the game on Sunday, and then I think the home team bounce back Monday, Everton to beat West Ham 2-1. So that's kind of my recap of the week picks for myself. Big up to each and every one of you lot that participated tonight. Big up Nitro, Jagans, Hot Chili, Odell Low. Chapaton is playing good. Game Birds, Conrad Smith check in late, but big up yourself every time. DJ Gigs little late as well. Big up yourself. Earlier on in the show, Premier 7 did check in as well. Big up yourself, Premier 7. Everybody, check out him channel, give him a strength. Subscribe and share and like the content over there. Always dropping some food for thought on his channel. Yeah, man, we like that. Yeah, man. So everybody, big up Duke as well. Say Nuno is free. Big up. I think I got 2 Ys tonight, so that's better for me personally. I think Duke usually gets to about the 5 to 10 Ys per show. So yeah, it's a good performance from me tonight in that category. So I must commend myself. But yeah, man. Battle of the 5-5. What you say? I think Pep returned the keys to Arteta when he was leaving. So I think we might see some attacking football from City, Mr. Butter. The 5-5-0 formation out in full effect. Anyway, people, on that note, Mr. Butter gave me a good joke to end off the show. So people, big up on yourself. Like I said, as far as the EPL fans are concerned that watch this channel and look out for that content from myself, Monday night, I'll be back with the EPL review show of all the fixtures for the weekend, plus the Monday night game. So yeah, look out for that. As soon as I have all the information to go on a thumbnail, I will make it. So look out for that Monday. If you can catch a time. If not, I'll just make the thumbnail and go live. And yeah, man, we're going to turn up. All right, so big up. Thanks again for all the views, all the likes, all the subs. If we gained any tonight, we greatly appreciate that. Anybody who hasn't considered becoming a member as yet, let me just implore you to look at it. It's on the profile of the homepage here. Just find the join button. It's $1.99 a month. Another way to just support the channel. You don't know, man's giving time and effort, using up his lights and whatnot. So just a way to show a little bit of respect if you deem so fit to do so. And yeah, man, just keep the lights on in the building so that we can bring you this top-notch footballing content. All right. Big up on yourself. Thanks again for the support. Once again, at the end of the show, so you know you're going to hear this. I am Jason Gooner. This channel is Jason Gooner TV. And this weekend, we need this to happen. Come on, you Gooners!